Alright, right now we're going to talk about Trichomonas vaginalis, an infection often transmitted by sexiness. It's rather simple, so it's going to be a short video, so let's begin. We've titled it Tricks for Money. Can you guess why? I'll give you a hint. It's about someone who earns their living by turning tricks on street corners at night. Right, exactly. It's a story about a magician. So here's our star, the master of tricks, and for his first trick, he's pulled a strawberry out of a hat. So Trichomonas vaginalis causes vaginitis, but it also causes other itises of the urogenital tract, including cervicitis. In fact, the cervicitis causes such bad inflammation that a speculum reveals a super red, inflamed cervix due to capillary dilation, and there's also areas of punctate hemorrhage. So it's earned the term strawberry cervix. Damn the physician obsessed with naming diseases after my favorite foods. But I'm still waiting for the first case of honey bunches of oats genital warts or Reese's peanut butter cups rectocutaneous fistulas. That way, I'll have no favorite foods. So, anyway, as you can see, the hat's no ordinary hat. The opening's kind of shaped like a cervix, and he's holding the strawberry to remind you of strawberry cervix. So what symptoms does trichomonas cause? Well, vaginitis causes burning, itching, and a malodorous yellow-green discharge, all of which will be illustrated with our homeless lady in the back warming her hands around the burning fire. So the burning fire for burning, she's scratching herself and she has a foul odor emanating from her. To emphasize the yellow-green discharge, let's make the streets wet from rain, and if we light up these green traffic lights, we get a nice green shimmer on the ground. Ooh, pretty. Just like green cervical discharge. Well, these symptoms sound kind of familiar, right? Maybe like some of the bacteria we've talked about in the past, like Gardnerella, or even Candida, or our sexually transmitted bugs like chlamydia and Neisseria. So how do we distinguish Trichomonas from these other bugs? Well, the great thing about Trichomonas is that it can be diagnosed quite readily from doing a wet mount, which is the same slide preparation we do to look for Gardnerella and even Candida. So just like these two bugs have their distinct features under the microscope, so does Trichomonas. The wet mount will show trophozoites, more specifically motile trophozoites, and to illustrate this, we've drawn in a moving car that's rounding the corner and sending splashes of water towards the magician. The water will remind you of a wet mount, and on the street in front of the magician, you can see a couple puddles that are, in fact, in the shape of trophozoites. Remember the buzzword here is motile. Now, just for a quick review, what did Gardnerella show under the microscope? Yep, clue cells. In Candida, pseudohyphae with budding yeast. Alright, another way to distinguish Trichomonas from Gardnerella is through the pH of the vaginal fluid. Behind the magician, we're going to draw in a street artist trying to sell some of his artwork. What interesting paintings. Those flowers are really Georgia O'Keeffe-esque, and all the red and inflammation represents vaginitis. Anyway, he's selling his vagina paintings for $4.50 and up. This $4.50 and up sign was also in our Gardnerella video. The up means that Trichomonas generally remains in a pH that is higher than 4.5. Or more basic, just like Gardnerella. And that's why both of them have to do with pricing, because you always see pricing is written $4.50 and up. Again, Gardnerella was the price of the plants, and Trichomonas is the price of vagina paintings. Candida, on the other hand, can cause an infection with normal pH, or under 4.5. Well, that's how Trichomonas compares with Gardnerella and Candida. So what about chlamydia and Neisseria? Well, like those two bugs, Trichomonas is considered a sexually transmitted infection, and as such, it definitely requires treatment. So to illustrate this, we're going to draw in a couple here smooching. This is to remind you that the parasite is sexually transmitted, and like our other STIs, men have the bug and sometimes don't really even show symptoms. So this is why it's important to treat sexual partners of women who are diagnosed with trichomoniasis. Otherwise, the parasite will continue to be spread back and forth between the two. So what's the treatment? I'll give you a hint. They're standing by some railroad tracks. Here it is, the metronidazole Metro. For some reason, the Metro always makes me so happy. and Metro can be a challenge to work into a sketch, but somehow it always comes in at the end, and it's always such a perfect fit. Anyway, remember to treat both partners. Alright, that pretty much sums up Trichomonas vaginalis, and judging by the name, you can probably remember the symptoms that are caused. The important thing to remember is how to differentiate it from other bugs that can cause vaginitis or other genital inflammatory conditions. So to do that, you'll want to remember the greenish discharge, the motile trophozoites on wet mount, the strawberry cervix, and that it grows in elevated pH. Alright, great job, and on to the next video.